highest weekly candle in literally years. All signs are pointing to Bitcoin not having a massive upcoming week, but instead a mega, extremely massive upcoming week. But what if I told you that even that simply wasn't bullish enough? Bitcoin right now on the weekly chart is at a level that we haven't seen in literally years, going all the way back to the top of the last bull market, back at the end of 2021. And as we're about to start this new week, the momentum has completely shifted 100% because of last week. And inflows are objectively accelerating. And is it possible or even likely that in fact we're about to see a new all-time high for Bitcoin in this new upcoming trading week? And as well, the beginning of alt season. So if you understand that we're about to have some massive gains, but deep down you realize that the gains that you're imagining are simply probably not big enough to what reality is about to give us. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, get signed up to FEMEX below if you want to buy Bitcoin or altcoins. And without any further ado, let's take a look at this completely monstrous mega chart, which is Bitcoin right here. As we have the biggest weekly candle we've seen, 25% upside candle, over $10,000 weekly candle. Absolutely ginormous, does not do this chart justice. It's much bigger than that. And we're seeing inflows accelerate massively. We are seeing interest accelerate massively, all 50 days away from the Bitcoin halving, which is not usually the time where we see a new all-time high. And it's not usually where we see momentum this strong. And if we look at Bitcoin, it looks as though, almost as if Bitcoin is simply printing bull flag after bull flag after bull flag, consolidation sideways, whether it's upwards consolidation or downwards trending, either way. For the past, if we look at this chart, going all the way back for the past well over a year now, Bitcoin has been breaking up and breaking up only, right? Massive gainer after massive gainer. And here we sit, which honestly, I think even the most bullish people 6 months ago would have said this is the best case scenario only. If things were the best case only, that maybe this would be realistic. And we have to zoom out and understand that we are here, right? Look at this. I mean, for this candle, we are literally a couple of percent away from new all-time highs. We're literally in the top 2, top 3 weekly closes of all of Bitcoin history. And every actual on-chain metric, every reliable metric is telling us that this is simply the beginning. Is this truly, though, the beginning of the decoupling? I mean, the last few weeks would be screaming, telling us it's very possible for the first time ever is the beginning of hyper-Bitcoinization, is the beginning of something fundamentally extremely big. I think so. And as I said earlier today, I believe that this run we're about to see is not something we're going to see something like really ever again. And I think that if you miss out on this run, the chances and the opportunities that you'll get in this space will never even come close to what we're about to see, right? BlackRock can only adopt Bitcoin once. BlackRock can only start, massive inflows into Bitcoin once. It's not like, in 4 years from now, the next Bitcoin halving, it's not like when that comes around, all of a sudden we can have even more institutions bigger than BlackRock suddenly adopting Bitcoin or something like, or accepting, with these Bitcoin spot ETFs. They can only happen once, and it's happening now. So this is an opportunity that I just simply think is going to be groundbreaking. I think it's going to be huge. It's going to be life-changing, but it comes at a cost. And I think that cost will be that you won't get this opportunity again. That's the easiest way, in my opinion, to explain what I think. So before we continue with charts, let's take a look at this. The altcoin market cap is about to explode, and I absolutely agree with this. Each time the Gaussian channel flips green, we have seen an aggressive upside rally in altcoins. Last time it happened, the altcoin market went up by 14x. Even if it replicates only half as good, so about a 7x, we're looking at a $4 trillion market cap. And more conservative would be a 4x, which would still be about a $2.5 trillion market cap, which I believe, let me look at this real quick, I believe is basically the entire cryptocurrency market cap right now. Yes, it is. So if the altcoin market cap basically became what the entire current existing crypto market cap as a whole is, then that would be about a 4x and it would still be very big. It would still be very profitable and a very exciting thing. This is a higher time frame chart. He says there can be a pullback in this rally day to day. It's not something that means we're going to literally explode in 5 minutes from now. But if you really like take a week or two off of looking at crypto, or even a couple days, maybe a month, I think you're going to be missing out on what exactly we're about to start. We're going to see this thing start flying, in my opinion. And so really is not a good time to tune out right now. Mike McGlone also pointing out that gold versus Bitcoin, or digital gold, which is Bitcoin, versus old gold or old analog. He says, why buy gold with the US stock market and Bitcoin on a tear and T-bills yielding 5%? The facts showcase headwinds facing the metal and potential tailwinds for the crypto. Mainly, if we take a look at this chart, you can see right here, these are the gold flows, the holdings of gold. Total known gold ETF holdings, ounces, in ounces, and this is Bitcoin. And what do you see right here, right? Right here, you see a little bit of a divergence where there was fair similarities, maybe some inverse correlation at certain points. But what do you see for the first time now as we begin this really big transition away? You see gold ETFs just dropping off and Bitcoin. And this is a trend that I don't think is going to continue. I think it's going to accelerate massively, continue way stronger than we've seen. I think it's going to get even way more parabolic. Way more bullish. This is just a very simple chart as well. I'm sure you might have seen this many times, but really you compare Bitcoin price history, linear scales. This is in dollars, hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars, and now we're about to see tens of thousands of dollars, right? Weekly candles of tens of thousands of dollars during this upcoming bull run, this current bull run that's beginning. James Van Straten says, to gauge the FOMO, the STH realized price continues to surge in its uptrend. The last time we saw this was back in November 2020, and we're roughly a third of the FOMO we saw at the peak of 2021, and we're already $7,000 away. He's basically saying if we get similar retail FOMO and if ETF inflows remain strong, how would we not blast through 100K? It's a very simple equation. You don't have to do a lot, crunch a lot of numbers to understand massive demand, massive lack of supply, and supply about to be cut in half with the Bitcoin halving. How are we not about to explode, right? Give me a reason why we won't. Also, latest on Bitcoin, there's record high demand as seen in record high inflows into accumulation addresses, which are addresses that only receive Bitcoin and never spend. And that is quite an acceleration. That is quite a massive acceleration. Purple is the price here, and this orange, this gigantic straight up line that you see right here, is the inflows. We've never seen something like this. This is absolutely insane, at least for the last year or so. So, I mean, what else is there to tell you with that? So tomorrow we are going to be opening the market again. And as I've been saying for the last few weeks, weekend action is pretty boring, pretty muted. Maybe sometimes Sunday nights get a little more exciting in anticipation of Monday. But I don't think I've ever been more excited for a Mondays in my entire life. Mondays are where these massive inflows of Bitcoin have been just piling on, where Bitcoin just seems to surge week after week. I mean, looking at the weekly chart for Bitcoin, this is, out of the last 4 weeks, one of them was like an indecision week right here, back the week beginning February 19th. But other than that, these have been some of the 3 biggest weekly candles we've seen for Bitcoin in general, right? Some of the top massive gaining candles that we've seen. Really, since this thing really started kicking off back at the middle of October, Bitcoin is clearly entering even more and more bullish price action. It's just crazy to watch. And if these inflows continue, I think we're going to start looking at some technical analysis and saying some of this technical analysis might stop working a little bit. Or when I say it might stop working, what I really mean is that the price action might kind of defy TA and we might just float higher way more than people are used to and people would ever expect, right? I think we already kind of are doing that. Also, I do want to highlight, I mean, clearly this chart is just insane. Looking at this chart, it's just wild to look at. I do believe very soon, we're already seeing alts honestly do pretty good. Alts are slowly starting to get lifted up. A rising tide lifts all boats, and Bitcoin is that tide, and the boats are the altcoins, and they are absolutely slowly starting to, it's not every day massively green, but how I think of it is altcoins are slowly going to get lifted up bit by bit. And then there will be points where the alts start exploding massively. I don't think we're quite there yet. I think that Bitcoin is absolutely stealing the show, and I think it may for a prolonged amount of time. But I think altcoins slowly are going to continue week after week to add to their valuations, especially the top 10, top 15 altcoins. I think absolutely, and I think that this market cap is about to start massively accelerating. We're seeing, I mean, for example, this meme coin Pepe. I don't like meme coins. I'm not a huge fan, but at this point, it is I think somebody described it as like a necessary evil to the market. And altcoins are moving. Meme coins are moving. And meme coins, I mean, at least for the foreseeable future, I believe meme coins they will continue to pump. I don't see why any fundamental reason. Well, there's no fundamental reason why they should be pumping, but I also see no fundamental reason why they will stop, based on the only thing we can really look at historically is that they tend to pump massively when the market starts moving, and we're seeing that. But realistically, again, looking more so at, look at the smaller time frame for Bitcoin. Are we printing yet another move to the upside? If we don't, let's say we don't and we get a dump here, all I expect to happen then over the next week is this institutional demand and massive lack of supply of Bitcoin to then just get bought back up. Whether we have a bust immediately after here, or we get rejected, ultimately the trend in even the relatively short term, so just over the next week, I think the trend is very clearly up. Now, also, as I've been saying, on the weekly chart, there should be a week where we get a big crash, maybe whatever, some accumulation, a week that is not so pumpy. But I do not like the idea of stepping out in front of a moving freight train, which is just the easiest way to describe Bitcoin price right now. Look at this chart. You really want to, if you had any prolonged shorts, if you had shorts that were open for a substantial amount of time during the past 15 months, you got giga-banged. You got absolutely giga-banged for the last 15 months if you were trying prolonged shorting strategies. If you had the same strategies for the last 15 months that you had back here in 2022 and the basically just all of 2022, you got giga-banged. You have to have adapted. That strategy simply does not work now. And with all of the fundamentals lining up right now, there's simply not enough Bitcoin to service these ETFs alone. Never mind retail, never mind people that have been buying Bitcoin for years. There's not enough Bitcoin to service these ETFs. The only way that they can buy more Bitcoin is by paying a higher price. They will have to pay higher, and they will have to buy higher. The price will have to go up if this demand even stays anywhere close to what it is right now. And it's literally there's a million factors why I think Bitcoin's going to go up, but the simplest supply and demand is potentially the strongest and is potentially going to be the biggest driver of price during this bull market. It's honestly unfathomable for me to try to understand. I'm not even, even as I sit literally alone and I think about this, it still blows my mind the possibility of how crazy this market can get in just the next couple of months. I can't wrap my head around it. The thing is, none of us know. I don't know for sure. You don't know for sure. Not a single person on the planet knows exactly what will happen. But everything, all of the data is showing heavy favorability for massive pumping. All of the factors, if you had to make an informed decision, everything would be screaming at us like, hey, this is an opportunity you really don't want to miss. And get signed up to Femex below if you want to buy Bitcoin or altcoins. Without further ado.